Okay, just another piece of the bits and bobs. The cooking tray that I purchased, that, once again, to catch all the spills, what I do is I prop it up on my bed, the trifold mattress, and the side panel over here, I'm sitting in the chair, and I turn this into a working desk, and it definitely can hold the weight. I could put my laptop on here, work on it, and then when I'm done, everything tucks down into this area. So just another little, multi-use, which once again, that's when you're living in such a small space, it's good to have things to use in different ways for different purposes. Okay, so I want to go ahead and we're going to talk a little bit about the Velcro, and you can see how it's dropped off of the roof. Now, mind you, it's holding well on the other side, but this side has been really having some problems. There's still a lot of stickiness to it, but it's just not holding. And every morning I do see it coming down. So what I'm going to attempt, I did already buy some of the fabric Velcro that you can get at the craft stores. I went to one of the chain stores, Michael's, and bought, it's a little on the expensive side. I think I paid $9, and it's not that much of it. But what I'm going to attempt first is that my father has a heat gun. I'm going to try to put this back up, apply a little heat, and see if it reactivates the adhesiveness, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, so it definitely looks a lot better. Unfortunately, it seems I don't know how to use a heat gun so well. I had it a little too close here, and you can see it discolored, and I think it actually melted. It still has a little bit of a grip, but right here it's kind of like it's not as, the hooks got melted a little bit, and also I can feel that I think I might have melted the plastic to the rooftop. So in either way, I achieved the purpose or the goal. And like I said, when I put the shades up later tonight, I'll see what it looks like. Because if I have to, I will remove this piece right here and replace it with another piece of Velcro, just that piece. Okay, just another little piece. So I'm up in northern Florida, and tonight we're actually going to go into a freeze warning. We're going to drop, I think they're saying 31 degrees, probably starting about 3 in the morning for maybe 2 hours. So in very cold weather, I'm relying, of course, on the Reflectix that I've, decorated, kind of, give a little bit of light, a little bit of color into the cabin. I also have, because, I do backpack. So I do have, it's a 20 degree sleeping bag, which is more than enough. I also have, this is one of my mid layers. It's, it's got the wool in it. I got the beanie. I don't know if you can see it because of the light, but I also, because I go running, it's like those nylon running pants that you can put on. I also have a top also, but I just have a regular t-shirt. I'm not going to put that on also. I'm going to try to stay away from putting any kind of gloves or socks on. I don't think it's necessary. Once again, we're only going to hit freezing for about 2 hours. I've done that before here in the van. It's comfortable enough for me. I don't plan on putting any kind of a heater. I've kind of talked about the Mr. Buddies and those kind of like options. My understanding, they really, if you don't want to deal with the humidity and the condensation and possibly, mold and everything, a lot of people do the diesel heaters. I have seen the diesel heaters in minivans. I don't think I'm going to need to do that. I think I'll be able to mitigate any kind of me being cold or anything just by layers, as well as the stuff that I have. So, just once again, just a little quick update. I am in night mode. The sun's already gone down. So this is, I've got like I said, the LED lights from Home Depot. They're, and I have it plugged into the, one of the fan. I've seen these fans on like a lot of van videos now. So it's pretty cool to know that I have one that everybody else has. So I think that's pretty cool. All right. I'll let you know in the morning if I sign back on. I'll go ahead and I'll add that to this video. All right, good morning. It's right around 5 o'clock. been up for a little while. As you saw, that, you know, my coffee set up in the morning. I'm still using my camp stove. It's still 32. It's right at freezing, or at least that's what the weather reports. I don't have a thermometer to kind of like tell the temperature, but that's what that's what it's reporting. It's comfortable in here. When I woke up, the van has auto start, so I just basically roll over, double tap, and it starts the engine. I already have the back set up that it starts blowing, the cold air, but then, within a couple of minutes, it's nice warm air. And then I get up and start the day. I didn't turn the vehicle on since then. It was just that initial, and I might not have really needed it. It's just, it's a comfort. I do it because I can, I guess. If it wasn't available to me, I would just get up and just be cold. Because you can't bring a heater with you when you're out backpacking. So, but the layers I have were perfect. At no time at night did I feel like, that, I'm cold or anything. Everything just, it's all about having those proper layers. After, I get up, once again, I'm not anywhere. I'm still in my parents' yard, still kicking the tires, still, just making everything. I'm getting ready. I guess I can make the announcement now. I'm going to be doing a series called Road to RTR. I'm actually going to be leaving, when you see this video, it's going to be several weeks, but to me, it's going to be in several days. I'm actually going to be leaving Florida to go to Arizona, but I'm going to be taking the I-40 route. And I'll say more about that while I'm doing those videos, but it's to see some of the scenic areas, do some day trips and stuff like that. I'm going to wander over and go that way to see and have like little mini adventures. All right. I'll talk a little bit more about the van later on, either today or tomorrow, and splice it all into this video. Just some of the things that I ran into, some of the things just to talk about, just more of the bits and bobs that's going on. So I forgot I have this backpack thermometer that it was in one of the cup holders. I was putting away my stuff, my coffee this morning. So it registers like the current temperature. So current temperature in the van's 46. And it's saying the lowest it saw was 40 degrees, and the other one shows the high, and it's like a 24-hour cycle. So it's when you insert the battery is when it does its 24-hour cycle. So far, the coldest inside the van this morning was 40. And like I said, I was comfortable all night. Okay, I just want to briefly touch upon the window blackouts, the shades that I have, the curtains I have up on the front and also on the back window. As I mentioned in a previous video, I went ahead and attached it with the Velcro outdoor tape, and unfortunately it's not effective for me. I put it up thinking, because it said that it would, attaches to brick, and when I put it up against the fabric, that it started to, especially in that right corner, as we're looking at it, it kept falling down. I put the heat gun to it. I mentioned that in a previous video. I thought that by reactivating the adhesive, perhaps that would help. It really didn't. So I wound up getting a small amount, because it's expensive, of the fabric Velcro, and I used that to reinforce. I actually put it on the back of the outdoor Velcro and then attaching it, and it seems it's holding up a lot better. I'm also being very careful about the way that I remove the curtains by holding on to the Velcro, pulling slowly. I'm also trying to also take the curtains and putting them over the headrest so there's not a lot of weight pulling down. And what really surprised me is here in the back, I had the same problem, and with the Velcro, and this is just plastic, and it did not hold at all, or not at all, but you can see here how right there how it's already coming off, and when I attach it, it'll hold on. I know the cold has something to do with it, but I actually had to I reinforced this with double-sided tape that you use for outdoors. You know, it's supposedly super strong. And so I had to do some reinforcement with that also. So this also, I make sure that when I take it off, I start in the middle and I pull outwards, just once again, just being very careful. I'd rather not, you know, I know like some people, they do, you know, you can do some, you know, I know people take curtain showers, or they take, you know, but I really like having the Velcro. I like the way that it sets up, and it's pretty tight. But you know, I don't know, there might be some other options. The Reflectics are working great. They hold in place and no problems whatsoever. It's just a little bit, I just wanted to give a small little, you know, added update to this piece. Okay, and this is, like I said, is one of the final pieces of the puzzle, was getting the spare tire. I was, you know, getting a full spare tire, and then getting this spare tire hitch for the back of the vehicle. And like I mentioned in another video, you know, as you know, you can see it does take where the normal license plate, you know, it blocks it completely. So what I did is I went ahead and I went to a body shop. They only charged me 1 hour of labor. They moved the license plate over there. They wired in the light to make it all street legal. What's nice about this, so I'll go ahead and there's a pin. I'll pull the pin out, and then I'll take it and I'll lower it down so you can see. Okay, and this is it in the down position. So I did add in, you know, as you can see, I did add that additional wire lock, and for two reasons. One is just for a little bit of peace of mind. I know I could, you know, get one of those, the lug nuts that, you know, that you can lock into there. I don't know if I'm going to get that, but the other thing is that I might get, you know, something that I, you know, to attach to the outside, like the boards that you use when you get stuck. I might have that on the back of the vehicle. So this will give me something where, you know, I can easily, you know, add it to these two wires here. And I just want to show you that I got this off of Amazon. I think it was right at $100, you know, so not that expensive. The tire itself, I got the rim at, you know, at Junkyard. I mentioned that in the other video. So this is, once again, so plenty of room, opens right up, you know, just, and I just feel a lot more comfortable with a full spare versus the little donut, which is underneath the vehicle over there by the driver, which I'd rather, like I said, when you're boondocking, and I just, to me, it just makes more sense to carry around a full spare. Also, one last thing to mention about the wires, you know, for the lock. I mentioned I do have, for the spare tire, one of those spare tire garbage cans that you strap onto your, you know, to the spare tire to put your trash away, which I'd like to do on boondocking. And I feel, you know, I feel good about that. You know, I'll be able to run it through the cables, just so nobody just, you know, might accidentally, you know, wander off with it.